I'm gonna be honest. You know, even though I love music, man. Music is one of those things, honestly, that it moves me. I wouldn't say I'm an emotional person, but music is something that drives and motivates me. I'll tell you this, I have my kids, we have a routine in my house. And part of the routine is the music that you listen to the first part of your day is really the thing that really helps move you. And so even as a student and young adult pastor, man, a song that is in my head a lot is New Level. I don't know if y'all know.
I'm on a new level.
I'm on a new level. I'm on a new level. You know what I mean? Because man, that's just something that I try to tell myself on a daily basis, and even my kids. You know what I mean? And even the students that I serve everywhere I go is, man, day to day. Bro, you got to be trying to shake yourself up. You know what I mean? You got to be trying to shake yourself forward, and moving to a new level in your life. And so really, man, that's my mode. That's a song, man, I remember even coaching. That was our warm-up song, you know what I mean? With one of my teams one year, man. We went to the championship that year. So, man, that's a song that it's rent-free in my head all the time.
Yeah, I'm going with that J-Rock, win, 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 win.
Yeah.
I can't get that out as soon as I wake up in the morning. Actually this morning, I mean, of course I'm worshiping and doing all of that, but I'm always hitting that gym early.
Yep.
And that's my first song. When I hit that gym, it's like it's time to win.
Yes, sir.
At all costs.
Yep.
And it's not that every single day is a win, but I just ultimately believe that failure is an incident, not a person.
Absolutely.
And so I'm like, I'm here to win. Absolutely. Like no matter what my past look like, no matter what the issue is, I'm still gonna win.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, win, J-Rock for me.
I like that. Y'all on the hip hop level. Like, I'm an old school guy, man. Like,
how old school? Now, what's old school to you now?
See, I'm 70s,
okay,
80s
okay.
guy.
I thought you were gonna say Jeezy. I'm like, that ain't old school.
No, that's my school. That's my school. But no, like I like hip hop and R&B. But since y'all was doing the rap, I'm gonna go R&B.
Okay.
Like instantly, I was thinking of Commodore Zoom.
Oh yeah.
I'm a peaceful guy, man. So like, I like to fly far away from here where my mind is fresh and clear. I think about the lyrics of songs, and I'm very cognizant of what I put into my mind, because that's a reflection of what your actions that you take in your daily life. Yeah. So that's something that lives rent free in my head when I'm cleaning up the house, when I'm mowing my lawn or I'm shoveling the snow. That's
so
something.
You still in Detroit?
Yeah, I'm in Detroit, man.
What up, though?
Real
what
snow.
up, though?
He's shoveling real snow.
We had some real snow
in Atlanta.
this year.
We got sheets of snow.
Yeah, y'all got
shut
that
the
petty
city
stuff.
down.
It's
you know
crazy.
what I mean?
I was raised. We going to school in 6 to 8 to 10 inches of snow. Like we never shut the city
Both of
down.
y'all. That's
St.
both of
Louis.
y'all. Like,
That's the same thing.
Yeah.
But I hadn't been to St. Louis in so long, like in the winter. But my mom, I go back and forth to see her every other week, and that snow came, and I was like a kid. I was like, I remember this. So now I'm out driving. She's like, boy, don't be driving in that snow.
Not out
I
here.
was like, I got to drive. I got to at least see if I still got it.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I took a saying that was told to me, and I relate sports to life a whole lot. And there was a time when I was in the middle of the game, and I had one of my defensive coaches come to me, and he said, Lawrence, adversity always introduces a man to himself. And I didn't really. I heard what he said, and it stuck with me. And recently, before when the pandemic came, my wife and I, we owned the trampoline park in Atlanta, in Gwinnett County, and the pandemic wiped it away, took it away. Because of course that type of business, you make money off of birthday parties. People weren't having birthday parties for about 3 years. You know what I mean? And what that particular failure taught me was that failure doesn't mean final. It doesn't mean it's final. It really presents an opportunity for you to see who you really are. And it took some dark nights, alone. Took some self-reflection of who I was as a man, and did money define me? Did success define me? Did the opinions of other people define me? And the thing that I had to come to terms with was, who are you really, Lawrence? Like, who are you? In this dark moment, who are you? And what I had to really realize and remind myself was this moment, this disappointment, this pain, you know, watching and seeing my kids, you know, wonder what's next, you know, it was what that coach told me. Adversity gonna introduce you to yourself. Because when everything was cool, while everything was going great, I was great.
Yeah.
I was cool.
Yeah.
You know, money coming in, we all right. But them doors closed. That landlord still want that 18,000. That SBA loan still want that 9,000. And they don't care that ain't nobody coming in the door. Like, you gonna have to figure this one out.
Yeah.
And God showed himself in that situation for me to show me really where he need me to be.
Yeah.
And really where he's called me to be. And it pushed me right into my passion, you know. And my passion was a hobby, and now my passion is making a living for me and my family.
And that is the
So
speaking
really,
and
well,
doing.
it's the speaking, yeah, through
Okay.
actually through my company called My Brain. That was something that I was just doing around Metro Atlanta just for kicks and giggles because I enjoyed it, and didn't realize God had a much larger plan for me through that. And it took me losing one business to put my mind and my passion and my real energy into the one that was really purposeful for me, man. So seeing myself, man, in that failure to understand it wasn't final. So
I love it.
yeah, man.
I love it.
That's
What
beautiful.
about you, bro?
Yeah,
How old are you?
I'm 35.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm 35. Had a lot of failures in my life, just navigating through Detroit, coming up in Detroit. You don't see a lot of like positive images, at least where I'm from. My family structure was always pretty good.
Yeah.
But the environment around me necessarily wasn't. So, but I had a pretty level head growing up, you know, because of my family structure, and that's how I was able to navigate through that. But to the question of failures, I think failures are always right there. Like,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
just always knew how to either navigate around it, or when failure happened, I knew how to pick myself up from it. I think I got that from my father.
Yeah.
Both of y'all are members of Divine Nine organizations.
Yep.
Even when I went to TSU and I pledged Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, the greatest fraternity in the world.
Arguably.
When I pledged that fraternity, you know, there were consequences behind if you couldn't do certain
absolutely.
things, right?
Yes, Lord.
There's consequences behind if you don't do certain things in life, right?
Absolutely.
And I think knowing that and having that in your mind, you're able to stay sharp.
Absolutely.
You know, I like what you said about adversity presents the man. Correct me if I'm wrong how I'm saying it.
Introduce you to yourself.
Adversity introduce you to yourself. I think that really shows you who you are.
Absolutely.
In many cases, I'm a big runner. I'm a big marathon runner. When you're running consistently for 26.2 miles,
My Lord.
all you have is yourself.
Absolutely.
Each mile gonna introduce you something to yourself.
Sheesh.
And there's failure within those miles too. You can run too fast, and your body starts to respond a certain way.
Absolutely.
Especially if you didn't train that way.
Yep.
You know, so it's best to learn in the training part than when you get to the marathon, you don't make those same mistakes.
Absolutely.
You know, so
How does one train for 26 months?
how does one, that's a great question. You start small, you know, you develop consistency. If you can't, I mean, like real small, like if you are like off the couch, haven't ran, I think that you would start by, hey, I'm gonna run from this point where I am to the street light.
Yeah.
Get there without stopping, or I'm gonna run from here to a half mile, nonstop.
Right.
Then you're gonna develop the consistency of just doing that every day.
Yep.
And then now I can run a mile
Yeah.
nonstop. Now I can run 2 miles nonstop. Now I can run 3 miles and 5 and 10. And you continuously do that every day, and now you'll see yourself, every time you go out for a run, you're gonna do 10 miles or better.
And I'm pretty sure you got to train your mind too.
Oh, yeah,
There's a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of mental training. I mean, with 26.2
That's a long way.
miles.
That's a long way.
That I'm giving up
I ain't
after
like 13. I was like,
yeah.
You said you did a half marathon.
I did a half
5K,
marathon, yeah.
5K is the most for your boy right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
like my
yeah.
six, like I think like my 6 or 7.
Yeah.
That's when I was, but the energy was so good, and people were at their stations, we having fun.
Absolutely.
And I just picked one person who just wasn't going to beat me. Like I ran track in college.
That's
Of
the
course I'm a
competitiveness in you,
sprinter.
though. Yeah.
Like I'm a sprinter. Like I'm ran in the SEC, but I wasn't out there doing what they were doing. And so I was like, he looks like he's in his late 50s. You just not gonna beat me. So by the time I got to 6 miles, right? Like I was like, you not. Oh, he rolling. So when I got to mile 6,
Right.
I had left the dude who was 50. But when I got to mile 6, I found somebody else who was like an older lady or mid. I was like, okay, well you're just not gonna beat me. And that took me to 8. And then by the time I got to 8, I found somebody else, and that's what kind of pulled me through this half marathon. How did you start running though? Like you said, you started at 27.
Yeah, I was 27 when I started running. Could barely complete a mile.
Was it something on the inside of you? Like, I'm just gonna start running. Was it depression? Was it something that was
Nope, it wasn't that. I was always physically active. I played basketball in high school and all of that, lifted weights. But running was just something I wasn't really good at. So I started incorporating cardio in my workout regimen. And then in the midst of it, I was like, I'm really bad at this. Like, I want to get better. So I kept showing up, 1 mile, then 2 miles, and I kept pushing myself. Like, I should be able to run 3 miles nonstop. And then from there, it went from, the switch happened where it went from, I'm here for this physical activity, but I'm finding out all of these things about myself within this space. So then it developed into the mental, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual.
Yep.
And when I was experiencing life challenges, like the loss of my uncle, my dad's twin brother, I was engaged, that didn't work out. I had running as that space for me to spend time with myself, the adversity showing me to myself. And then within this space, I'm like, man, I want to share this with other people. And that's when I co-founded We Run Through and Through.
Something you just said though that I just heard last week, and it just you just painted a full picture. You said I realized I wasn't good at it.
I was
But
not good
you
at it.
worked at it and did it anyway. And somebody just said last week, I heard a guy, he's a motivational speaker as well, and he said you got to focus on the things that you aren't good at in order to truly be successful. Like the focusing on, if we just pour into all the things that we're good at, like we're never really gonna grow. Like you never really gonna measure up to where you really could be. But once you start to focus on those things and train on those things that are your deficiencies, like it just takes you to another level. And then, I mean, it introduced you to something that blew up before, that you never even thought to probably have a run club. You just thought, man, I just want to work on running.
That's it. That was in 2015. Started the run club 4 years later. I discovered a talent within myself that I didn't even know existed. Because I ran because I had to play basketball. But I was bad at it, and it made me not want to play basketball because we had to do.
You gotta keep doing these wind sprints and running. and all
But
that.
it wasn't until I got into the mental aspect. I'm a big person of like mental fortitude, and like trying to find spaces where I can continuously sharpen myself as a human, as a man. And that was it for me. And once I started doing that, I was like, man, I gotta figure out a way to like share this gift with the world. Like, more specifically the African American community, because we don't just see, you ride up in the city, you're not gonna see black people running, but now you do in Detroit.
Oh no,
Because
like I
you're
won't
just
like
not gonna
when
see
I
that.
seen that, and I was messing with you, and then I picked up your decorum, and you was like, no, I'm from Detroit,
Yeah.
because I'm from St. Louis.
Right, you gotta say it again.
And so when I got into this whole faith-based thing, I would probably say my biggest failure, because I used to be an R&B singer, Pretty Willie. So I had the song "Lay Your Body Down," 4 walls. I used to be running to Detroit all the time, just running club to club, doing whatever, and then I find. Like, I go to church, and I really get more than I bargained for, to be quite honest. Like, I wasn't going to church to be saved. I was going to church to stop smoking and drinking and doing I'm like, mama gonna kill me if she found out all the stuff I'm doing. Grew up with 2 ex-sharecroppers, and then I ended up going to church, got more than I bargained for, and I was like, yo, I just want to see what the other side of faith looks like. And so, but I felt like a failure because I was right at the cusp of being this R&B singer. Like I got a new song with Daryl Babs, aka Tank. It's called Love in the Daytime. This thing about to blow up. And then all of a sudden, this record deal that I have with Warner Brothers doesn't work out. They called me one day, the record blowing up in LA. I'm like, it's just about to go to, St. Louis. You know, you want to bring it back to the Midwest.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I got markets. You know what I'm saying? We out of LA in this deal. And it was like, we just gonna move in another direction. And we're gonna go with this dude named J-Rock.
Wow.
The guy that I said I love his record, Win, Win, Win.
Wow.
And this is other guy that we're thinking about signing. His name is Kendrick Lamar. He's a new kid. And so we're gonna go in that direction, but we're gonna give you, we're gonna give you your money out the fund. It's 6 figures plus in that fund. They give it to us. I go back to St. Louis and I started this thing called Young Fly and Save. And I'm starting to do music, but in the back of my mind, it still feel like failure though. Like I gotta conquer this thing. Like I'm a competitor. I'm a track guy. Like, and I'm from the neighborhood too. Like when my neighborhood, like we don't quit at nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like we just can't. Like that's failure. And then my dad, he just always told me like, man, just see it through to the end. And I felt like I didn't see it through the end. But now when I look back, I often, as I said before, failure was an incident and not a person, because everything that I learned on those stages across the country, opening up for DJ Quick, opening up for Game, selling out stadiums in Shreveport, even here in Memphis, being able to sell out the clubs that we were doing. Like it taught me how to be in front of people and like demand a crowd. So when I walk in, even though the smallest person in the room, you got this big presence.
Absolutely.
And then I see the hand of the Lord in it because I get a chance to speak to people at their level. A lot of people, when they get in the faith-based genre or they become there, it's a part of them that's just like, they're so detached from what really was going on. So I can go in any neighborhood or any boardroom. Like I've been like, and not trying to be impressive, but I just thank God for those moments that I thought I failed, because it made me good in the street. And then it also made me good when I sit across from presidents and have to interview them. Because everybody has a common language when you come from a common place. And so I was able to speak to people in a way. And so I think that failure turned around. It still plagues me. I still want, I still want that gold, like I got plaques now for people that I help. I'm like, man, I still want my own on there. I don't know how that's gonna happen. And then in the faith-based community, I don't know where the hip roll go. Like I done got everything else, but I don't know where this goes. I'm like, God, am I ever gonna get to do this? I had mastered that part, but yeah, man. So I think that was my biggest failure. As I was sitting here thinking, I was like, I got a lot of personal things that I failed in, but like on a broader level, I'm like, man, I think that was the part where I see the lesson in it all, but it's still something that I desire.
Man, it kind of made me, when just listening to both of y'all and kind of reflecting on kind of what I said about my failure, it really made me think about this simple concept that people throw around a lot, where you talk about my plan versus God's plan, and a lot of times our failures take place because we moving in our plan, and we not even trying to operate in His plan. And so it's like He got to send us through that moment. He got to allow us to experience that disappointment. You know what I mean? And go through the things that we don't really enjoy doing, and be able to say, "All right, you ready now?" Like, okay, are you done yet?
Sure.
Yeah, are you done? Yeah, I don't know if y'all remember in Black Panther when the guy was like, "Are you done yet?"
Are you
done?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Like God, like, are you done yet? Like, 'cause I got this over here.
I think I'm in a "Are you done yet" moment now too.
Yeah. Wow.
Like it's like I keep going into these moments where I'm moving in faith, and then I grab a hold to it. Like I start looking at numerics. I'm like, okay, man, if we just do this and do this, and sometimes I kind of let that ego edging God out, because I'm like, oh, if we just do a little bit more of this and we do a little bit more of that, instead of really sitting at the feet of the Father and saying, all right, God, like how we really, like how do you want me to do it versus what the analytics and data is telling me to move. Like, cause I move by faith, but I move by data too.
Numbers, man.
I tell you, man, you just said, man, y'all keep making me think of stuff, man. Like I just told my oldest son, he had a very traumatic experience that he's been through. He had to have 2 surgeries, had a really traumatic incident, and I allowed him to go through his emotional moment of that disappointment and that failure. And when he and I really had an opportunity to sit and talk, I said, son, everybody goes through stuff. And the one lesson I think you learn right now, and this is that bad things happen to good people all the time. I said, but what you have to be able to really sit with yourself and do through this moment is ask God a sincere question. What are you requiring of me through this? What is it that you want from me through this? What do you need me to do? This is a very bad moment. It don't feel good. I don't think I deserve this. but you obviously believe that I need to get something from this and you need something from me. What is it? And a lot of times when we allow ourselves to sit in those moments and really ask God that question and sit with him and really get a response from him, we can look at the failure as really like a launch pad to take us exactly where he needs us to be.
Absolutely.
Instead of it being this woe is me. Why did this happen to me?
Yeah.
Why am I going through
I just want to pat you on the back for creating that space for your son.
Yeah.
You know,
Appreciate
especially
that,
like
man.
as black men, like, I mean, me growing up, I didn't have a space where I can like sit in those emotional moments.
Yeah.
And then have a discussion around it.
Yeah.
You know, like, what did you have or what was it for you
Yeah.
to be able to like know that that's important?
Yeah.
Because like our emotions, we human beings, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you should be able to express them.
Yeah,
You should be
man.
able to be vulnerable.
No,
You should be able to
absolutely.
have conversations.
Absolutely,
But
man.
but you said something that was very important. You said I allowed him to have that moment.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. No,
That's
man,
important.
I did. I,
Whatever
I
you
had
got to
to
do in that moment.
Yeah,
you know?
man.
Okay, and then now let's discuss it.
Absolutely.
So like,
Because we always so quick to tell people, man, shake it off.
Never.
Shake it off.
Yeah,
You
don't
know,
cry.
and,
Like
or
that,
even
yeah.
as men, be like, man, suck it up, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
suck
yeah.
it up. No, like, bro, this is unfair. This does suck. You
Yeah.
know, you didn't deserve that. You know what I mean? But being able to help him understand that you got to figure out a way to move forward from this and actually grow from it and not allow this to, you know, the way I painted it to him, and I think all of us have to really understand sometimes is, you know, our situations are always molding us, right? They're always molding us. And I had to really help him understand that as bad as this sucks, you know, there's going to be a tomorrow. There's going to be a moment when you heal. Your body is going to heal. You know, the doctors did their work. You're going to have to go through the rehab. Your body's going to heal. But your mind, your heart, and who you are at your core has to heal as well.
I think what drives me is just the beauty that no child has to pay for anything.
Yeah.
The
That's
work
beautiful.
the work that St. Jude does to make sure that everybody has equal access to healthcare is just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Not even, and it extends beyond the children. It's the families.
Absolutely.
It's everything. You guys look at all moving parts that it takes to support a young person experiencing what they're going through.
Absolutely.
And then how they bring in the community is just outstanding. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because it creates a world for a young person that they don't even really think about what they're experiencing much. At least from my perspective of what I see.
Yeah,
I can't speak to the young person, but
Yeah.
the energy and effort that I see St. Jude pouring into the young people is very inspiring. It makes me want to continue to support.
Yeah.
I just love what St. Jude does
Absolutely.
for young people and the families.
Absolutely.
You know, that's what makes me support.
Absolutely. What
I
about
think
you,
I think for me, what keeps me supporting is Markel.
Wow.
Mine is a lot. I think it's just a lot more personal.
Man.
My second time that I came, I met this young, vibrant young man who went by the name of Markel, and he was a star. He's from Louisiana, and he knew I was on radio, but he didn't know what type of radio.
Yeah.
Cause when I come, I'm not in no suit,
Right.
dressed up, and they, you say gospel or inspirational, they automatically that generation kind of like, oh, okay, it ain't hip hop.
Yeah.
But I got chains on back then, this, that, the other, And he was like, man, what you do? I was like, I'm on radio. He was like, man, put me on the radio. I'm a star. I was like, man, you are a star.
Right.
And so me and him, we chopped it up. He ended up beating one bout of cancer, and then the cancer came back. Wow. And I was on my way to the Stellar Awards. I'm forcing my team. I'm like, hey, give me a picture of them. Whatever you do, give me a picture of them. I want to take them on the red carpet with me.
Yep.
Like I want an 8x10 of them, and I want to take them on the red carpet. So I'm going through the red carpet with this picture of Markel because he never got an opportunity to hit the red carpet on this side of heaven.
Absolutely.
So I took it, and I was doing interviews with Markel, and I was just like, hey, whenever y'all make it to heaven, it's a young talented kid by the name of Markel.
Yeah.
after y'all finish watching Michael Jackson and Sammy Davis Jr. and the others,
Yeah,
make sure
tune
you head over to the hip hop side and go watch my little brother
Tune
in heaven do his thing. And
Absolutely.
so every time I come, you know, I'm thinking about Markel. Whenever I do the radiothon,
Yep.
I think about that young man who had so much life.
Yeah.
And I see what happened to his family afterwards. It was just so tough.
Yeah.
St. Jude did a really, really awesome job, and I just worked really, really hard to make sure that the Markel story
Yeah.
is lessened in the
Yep.
earth. Yeah.
Man.
I love
Man,
that.
bro, that's all you need.
Yeah.
To keep coming back. You know,
Yeah.
hearing and being able to live a story like that. Man, you know, I'm gonna tell you, I was a little nervous. This is my first time here, and I'm a crybaby when it comes to kids.
Yeah,
you
me
know,
too.
I'm a crybaby to be honest. And I'm gonna tell you the thing that has, even though I haven't been here in person before, but you know, we've been supporting them for so long. But I've done research. Actually, one of my sons has an art business, and his art business donates 10% of his funds to St. Jude. He does art auctions, and you know, the thing that my family we see in St. Jude is relentless. You know, that's the one word that, you know, my family and I talked about. And I told you I relate sports to life. And one of the things that, you know, as an athlete, you tell you as a coach, you tell your athletes is you got to relentlessly pursue this win for this game. You know, as if you're a football player, you got to be relentless on defense. You know what I mean? And if you watch St. Jude, you know, and you look at the beginning of when the owner found this amazing, miraculous place, he was relentless in his mind that I'm gonna be sure that every child can get treated. And if you think about the history of it at that time, you know, African Americans couldn't get treatment in certain hospitals. In his mind, nah, that ain't gonna happen here.
Not here.
That's not gonna be the case here.
Danny.
And he had a relentless
Shout out to Danny
mentality.
Thomas.
Absolutely. Shout out to Danny
Thomas,
Thomas.
man.
You got to shout him out, bro.
That's bold,
like,
man. That's brave.
listen, man.
That's crazy.
Like to be able to have that relentless mentality, even in the time when it was really okay.
Yeah.
It was okay to do that. It was okay to
And in
to
Memphis.
say, yeah, you know.
I mean, one step up from Mississippi.
Yeah.
Man, one step, man. And so for me, it's their relentless pursuit to ensure that his vision and mission is carried out, man. You know, it is outstanding and actually a miracle that they are able to ensure that not one family that walks through these doors walks out with a bill. Like, you know how much pressure that takes off a family
Man.
to know that my kid is here being taken care of. Because, you know, for most
Top tier
families,
healthcare.
most people, when you go into the hospital, the first thing they think about, man, how I'm gonna pay for this. Most people won't even call an ambulance.
Won't
And that's what,
even
and
go.
that's
They
what
don't
do
wanna
when
pay
you
the
walk
ambulance
in.
bill.
It's like, where's your insurance?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you
First
can't
thing
even
they
get
ask.
checked. You can be bleeding with your ear
Man,
falling out.
listen.
Where your insurance?
Exactly. So to be able to walk in here and know I ain't gonna have to, I could just focus on my baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's a
You
beautiful
know,
thing.
I had the opportunity to run the Berlin Marathon in Germany as a St. Jude hero.
Wow.
And I set a lofty goal of running the marathon under 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
That was very lofty.
It's a lofty goal.
In Berlin.
In Berlin, in Germany, right? And this was my first time running as a St. Jude hero because I came last year and I saw how they utilize running as a major way to raise funds for St. Jude. So I was like, I'm a fundraiser for St. Jude.
Wow.
And I had a goal to run the marathon under 2:45, and then I also had to raise, I think it was $6,000.
Okay.
I did that really quick. My running community, family, everybody chipped in, got to Berlin.
Yeah.
Just to travel and everything, it kind of throws you off because you're jet lagged and everything.
Right.
Crazy thing, I lost my phone getting off the plane. Then long story short, I had to go back to the airport the next day to get my phone. They found it. But I had to do everything without a phone.
Wow.
Which made the mental barrier of running that much more daunting and challenging. But I kept thinking about these kids.
Absolutely.
I kept thinking about my community back at home.
Absolutely.
One of the quotes that I live by is when we forget ourselves that we do things which will be remembered. So a lot of the things I do in life don't have nothing to do with me. So when y'all speaking from a spiritual lens, it's all about God, you know, and how I can utilize myself as a vessel to inspire and motivate people to live in healthier and happier and more fulfilled lives. So I ran the marathon, man. I ran it in 2:44. 21, yeah. 2:44, 21.
My man.
Yeah, like right up under there.
Yeah. After all of that.
So to put that in perspective, that's 6 minutes and 9 seconds per mile for 26.2 miles,
That's
nonstop.
crazy. That's
I had to hold on because at mile 20, you know, mile 21,
It's making my
you cutting into a different type of, you know, you
Bruh.
2 hours into the marathon.
I ain't ran a 6-minute mile,
The
brother.
hamstring.
Everything in your body,
toenails.
everything in your body
Yeah.
starts to hurt. But you have to be able to shift from the physical into a mental and spiritual
Absolutely.
aspect of the marathon that exceeds far beyond what your physical can even comprehend.
I think it's beautiful what everybody's doing,
all
being
of it.
able to come back here, you know, to get re-engaged, to get motivated and inspired again, to leave here, to go help other people, man, to jump on board, man. So salute to both of you gentlemen,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
the conversation with both of y'all,
Absolutely.
man.
Y'all
For
too.
real, man.
Thank you, brothers.
Look
Yeah,
forward,
for
hopefully
sure.
connecting with y'all, man, to do some great stuff for St. Jude together, possibly. You know what I mean? I think it'd be great, man. So
Indeed.
appreciate both of y'all.
Yeah.